Bitter criticism, regular day, reading our news from this beautiful and happy world. That's irony. Irony criticism. Can you imagine an irony channel? It's the only way to say anything in this free world, isn't it? With irony. More beautiful news from this beautiful world. Such a beautiful world. Great news! Woo! Hey Tommy, great news! Hey Mickey! You know, I didn't did this stencil. There's a stencil here. I'm going to show you. Look what just someone did. Nah. That's not from the family of stencils, but look. And Tommy. Can you see? It's just like Mickey. I have a Mickey Mouse here. What happened, Mickey Mouse? Because of the colors, can you see the different colors? Anyway, so Tom Mickey. Oh, you know, definitely I will call this dog, if this dog were mine. Oh, I mean, since the beginning, I will call this dog Tyson. Very original, isn't it? Because just like Mike, Tommy could be. You know what I like about Tommy? I always complain about him, I'm always complaining about, because he's a beast. He's a beast, you know. He's half pit bull and half dogo, Argentinian dogo. Well, what I love about this dog, what I really like about him, he perceives bad vibes, you know. If someone have bad vibes against him, against me or against us, against our clan, you know, against our group, if anyone, a human being, yeah, you know, I guess dogs, they are the expression of their owners, you know. I guess dogs, they follow their leaders, their owners. Sometimes because of nothing. Some people hate you, you know, in life. You don't know, maybe it's jealousy, maybe it's envy. Some people are jealous about you and they hate you. There's some very resented people in the world. If you don't know that, that's how life is, unfortunately. Well, this dog, Tommy, this dog over here, he perceives, you know, he understands when someone hates us. That's unbelievable. I guess this is because he's half Argentinian dogo, or dogo argentino. So I'm not sure about all dogo argentino. I very interested in this very specific subject. I will tell you, I guess Argentinian dogo argentino, they don't attack people. That's sad in a city, savagery. In a jungle, yeah, in a city jungle, like any city. If your dog don't attack people, it's kind of worthless, because the dogs cannot work as a guard, you know. Tommy definitely cannot be a guard against people, because Tommy, he loves people. People, maybe they will have a heart attack. That's definitely. People maybe will die of fear, you know. Will have a heart attack watching Tommy running after them. But Tommy just love people, love all people. that sucks. But the question is, Tommy hates cats, and that's what Argentinian people did with the dog Argentino. They trained this cat from Great Dane. They take Great Danes and they develop this dog Argentino. And well, now I'm going to read some Pepe Escobar. The question is, Tommy, I guess he dreams about killing a puma, a cougar, a mountain lion, Tommy, that's Tommy dream. You know, when Tommy see a cat, he needs to kill the cat. You know, Tommy never kill any cat, but that what Tommy loves. You know, that what Tommy loves. Tommy loves to fight back. That's it. So even people loves Tommy. Everybody loves Tommy, but when someone hates Tommy, Tommy knows. Understand? That's it. So Tommy feels bad vibes. And well, bad vibes in society, I guess, is related to envy or any kind of bad feelings. Question is, I will repeat. I guess Dog Argentino feels bad vibes, and not just any vibe, like crazy vibe, like wrong vibes. He understand very well, you know, better than you. You know, you if you want to judge, if you think you don't judge well the things, you don't get things as they are, your Argentinian doggo will do. You know, they will say, hey, this guy over there, he hates us. You know, he's threatening us. He's thinking bad things of us. Understand? He's kind of I don't know how to say, people who telepathic. Yeah, Argentinian doggos are telepathic. That's what I was saying. My telepath. These dogs have a huge brain too, you know. Anyway, so I'm going to read some Pepe Escobar because I've been reading a lot of things from Russia Today and CGTN. Pepe Escobar in Italian, but there's more. There's a direct post on Telegram. Look, Pepe Escobar Telegram. How can the whole planet possibly become hostage of acute dementia? The lame duck crash test dummy in the White House actually mumbled what he will discuss privately with Tel Aviv psychopathological genocidals, how they will retaliate against Iran's ballistic knife. Yeah, it's so sorry because they are retaliating. I was trying to remember retaliate, just like Tommy. Tommy wants to retaliate. Whoever hates us. The White House is spinning that essentially the options are striking Iran's energy or nuclear infrastructure. Anyone with a working brain knows that both are total lunacy and could only come out of deep dementia, which is not a privilege of the White House zombie. After all, this, quote, decision in fact will come from toxic members of the Biden combo: Sullivan, Little Blinky, Amos Hochstein, and Brett McGurk, all dedicated lackeys of Project Zionism. The oil market is on a frenzy. Goldman Sachs says the barrel of oil will go up by only $20, $20. Nonsense. The oil market is on a frenzy. Goldman Sachs says the barrel of oil will go up by only 20. I don't understand, I guess this is not expensive. Go up only 20, maybe increase. Yeah, as increase is a lot. An increase of $20 is a lot. I don't even knew how much is a oil barrel. I talked to my Persian Gulf trader connections trust since before shock and awe over 20 years ago, and they say an attack on Iran's oil refineries plus the devastating Iranian counterattack may lead to a barrel too. Oh no! This will be catastrophic for all of us. Take note. We all going to die. We are going to die from inflation. Devastating Iranian counterattack may lead a barrel to 200 and even 300 territory. No need to do the math to see how that will devastate the global economy. The global economy. That's important, isn't it? And now, just now, 3 minutes ago, US UK is bombing Sana'a in Yemen. Terrible. I guess Yemeni people, they bombed Israel, I guess. Well, Sonar21.com, Pepe Escobar and I discuss Iran's missile retaliation. I guess this is a video. No, but this is a text here from Larry Johnson. Larry Johnson is a nice guy. Larry Johnson is a comrade. And says, Sonar21, Pepe Escobar and I discuss Iran's missile retaliation, October 3rd, I guess is yesterday, 2024, by Larry C. Johnson. Love me some Pepe Escobar and first met, and I guess Pepe Escobar and I first met last December during my first trip to Moscow, where we were instant friends. When I arrived in Moscow in the midst of a record-breaking snowstorm, I was standing in line waiting to check in to the hotel and noticed that the man in front of me looked remarkably like Pepe Escobar. The man turned, looked at me, and then said, "Oh my God, you are Larry Johnson." And I said, "You look like Pepe Escobar." He laughed with his ironic good cheer, and we immediately agreed to meet for drinks and snacks. This was the birth of their friendship. Apart from Alastair Crook, an icon on his own right, I could think of no one better than Pepe, with whom to mull over the implications of Iran finally delivering on its promise to retaliate against Israel for the murder of Ismail Haniyeh. Most of the Western media is reporting the Iranian attack as unprovoked. Just one more example of the corruption and lies that undergird the so-called free press in the West. Yeah, so I guess there was an attack. I guess the West imperialism. All these guys, Sullivan, Anthony Blinken Jr. They deliberate some. I don't know when, but maybe 2 weeks ago. when the attacks of the pagers, that time, that day, that week, there was a lot of censorship on YouTube, you know. You could not upload a video about Russia Today, Russia, and so on, you know. And well, from since then, I'm uploading the videos with the forbidden news for the free world. Forbidden news for the free world. What an irony, isn't it? The free press in the West. There was a lot of behind-the-scenes action in Israel, in Tehran, and in Tehran that the media is ignoring. The biggest story, one that Pepe brought to light, is the internal ruckus in Iran pitting President Pezeshkian against Ayatollah Khamenei. Pezeshkian admit that he was bamboozled by the West, naively believing that if Iran held back from launching retaliatory missiles at Israel, that Netanyahu will stop the slaughter of Palestinians and that a ceasefire could come to pass. Instead, the promised ceasefire was a deadly trap. According to Lebanon Foreign Minister, Nasrallah had agreed to call a ceasefire and was meeting with an Iranian general to discuss the matter when both were assassinated. Richard Stephen Hack has written a good piece explaining how it appears that the ceasefire proposal was a ruse to entrap and murder Nasrallah. This is just one of the issues Pepe and I discuss. Well, I'm kind of lost. Oh no, this is like a kind of blog. This is kind of a blog, you know, and it's by days, and then 4 days ago, September 30. It's not about Pepe, but is interesting. Larry Johnson, I always see him in, I guess his Dialogue Works, or maybe he's, I guess his Dialogue Works, I guess. Well, a lot of channels on YouTube. You know, YouTube is nice, but you're now on YouTube. You cannot post a video saying Russia Today, Russia, you know, just but forbidden news for the free world. What about that? And well, Pepe Escobar Telegram, Cyrillic news from Russia, Italian news from the same news in Italy, I guess. I have zero idea about Cyrillic. You know, Cyrillic to me looks like a internet virus. Unfortunately, I guess I'm going to study, but I'm committed to study Chinese. Chinese is very funny because you draw things. You don't have I guess it's easy because you don't have articles, you don't have verbs, I guess. Understand? You may argue that there are like 2000 ideograms, but there's no articles, there's no prepositions, you know, there's no little words you never will able to use correctly, like in Spanish, you know. Everybody knows that if Spanish is not your mother language, you will have severe problems using the articles, pronouns, conjunctions and stuff, little words, you know, and the gender substantive genders, noun genders, like the tree is feminine and so on, you know, or masculine. It's hard to explain, but like cell phone is masculine, Jacket is feminine. Understand? It's crazy. No way, no way. It's impossible to understand, to know all of the gender objects. Anyway. So, Geopolitics Live. Pepe Escobar Telegram. Key statements on Iranian Supreme Ayatollah Ali Khamenei at Friday prayers in Tehran. Iran, Lebanon, Iraq, and Egypt have one enemy. The enemy, acts everywhere with a special method, but he has only one headquarters from where orders are given. Every country has the right to defend its territory from aggression. The Al-Aqsa flood operation was absolutely legitimate, and the truth was for Palestinians. The Israelis will never defeat Hamas and Hezbollah. Speaking on the True Promise 2 operation, Ayatollah said the work of our armed forces 2 days ago was done brilliantly and was also legitimate. Iran will strike Israel again if necessary, he added. Assassination of Hassan Nasrallah and other top Hezbollah leaders will only harden the group's anger and determination. Yeah, that's what people say. Killing leaders is stupid, because these movements they don't follow a leader. It's like a mass movement, understand? Yeah, so I guess I start to agree with people like Rui Pimenta. Is what Rui Pimenta says. Hassan Nasrallah will only give more fire to the fire, only more gasoline to the fire. Another top Hezbollah leaders will only harden the group's anger and determination. The main problem in the region is foreign interference, but if countries in the region work together, then they will be able to overcome it. There's more from Geopolitics Live, Pepe Escobar Telegram, Geopolitics Telegram. The number of the International Legion of Territorial Defense of Ukraine, formed by the West, has reached 18,000 militants from more than 85 countries. Oh, this is supporting Ukraine. Said head of the Russian Federal Security Service, FSB, Alexander Bortnikov. More statements by the head of the Russian Federal Security Service, Alexander Bortnikov. Ukraine wants to involve the Baltic states and Poland in the conflict with its provocations near the Belarusian border, said FSB Director Bortnikov. The West is clearly not interested in establishing stability in Transcaucasia and is trying to achieve the deployment of its own peacekeeping contingent in the region under the auspices of NATO. The West is putting increasing pressure on Moldova in order to force Chisinau into open confrontation with Russia. This is a serious threat. Moscow hopes that Chisinau will show common sense and not trade the sovereignty and security of the country for short-term political benefits. The bombing of pagers in Lebanon and Syria demonstrates that there is a risk of attempts on government officials by special services. This is a direct threat to the security of the CIS countries. In Poland, Latvia, and Lithuania, foreigners are being trained to participate in battles on the side of Kiev. And well, Pepe Escobar say that Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia, they don't have nothing. They don't have equipment. Anyway, Uzbekistan helped the FSB to identify a cell of a dozen militants of the Wilayat Khorasan operating in Russia. Uzbekistan helped the FSB to identify a cell of a dozen militants, of the Wilayat Khorasan operating in Russia. Do you remember the Crocus attack? The West is seeking to make Armenian authorities withdraw from the Collective Security Treaty Organization in exchange for preferential arms supplies. And we have the explanation. Wilayat Khorasan, ISIS or ISIS-K, also known as Wilayat Khorasan, is a terrorist organization outlaw in Russia. Well, a terrorist organization, I guess. He is outlaw all over the world. Anyway, Intel Republic, yeah, from Intel Republic, nothing but ruins. The first panoramic video footage of Ugledar, Donetsk People's Republic, DPR, ex-Ukraine after its liberation by Russia. The town's name translated to gift of coal, which of course the DPR is known for having previously accounted for 20% of Ukraine's GDP at just 10% of Ukraine's population. Ugledar served as a key NATO fortified fortress town, covering the approaches to the logistics hubs supporting the southern Donbass defense. You know, I'm going to Russia Today now to see about the Yemenis. I'm going to see Al Jazeera best. Look, Al Jazeera live updates. Let's see what's going on with the genocide dossier. I guess they should say something about the Yemenis. About Israel, Gaza. Yeah, look. 19 minutes ago, US and British forces strike Yemen. Report. Yemen's Houthi al-Masira TV reports that US and British airstrikes have targeted Hodeidah Airport, Sana'a, and Damar City. We will bring you more information as we get it. So, I'm going to see now Russia Today to see this attack. They are not talking about this, I guess. Yeah. And I suppose that Russia Today is not talking about this neither. There's an interesting news on Russia Today about China. EU makes move towards trade war with Beijing. EU makes move towards trade war. Bloc members have given their necessary support for steep tariffs on Chinese-made electric cars, the European Commission has said. We have a photograph of two cars, an electric car from the Chinese brand NIO and one from Porsche with a combustion engine are pictured during a visit by German Economy Minister Robert Habeck to China in June 2024. I guess the Chinese is more beautiful. Chinese brand NIO. Maybe someday I will buy a BYD, Building Your Dreams. The European Commission's decision to impose tariffs on battery electric vehicles, BEVs, from China has received the necessary support from EU members, according to a statement on the Commission's website. Critics of the measures have warned the EU against waging a trade war with the Asian powerhouse. The decision marks another step towards the conclusion of the EC's anti-subsidy investigation into Chinese-made electric cars, which Brussels launched in October 2023. The statement released on Friday said, the levies range from 7.8% for foreign companies such as Tesla, which manufacture their vehicles in Asian countries, to 35.3% for Chinese firms that reportedly did not cooperate with the investigation. The new tariffs, which are to be enforced for the next 5 years, come on top of the EU's standard 10% import duty on cars. Quote, today the European Commission's proposal to impose definite countervailing duties on imports of battery electric vehicles, BEVs, from China has obtained the necessary support from EU member states for the adoption of tariffs, the Commission said. 10 of the 27 EU member states, including France, Italy, and Poland, supported imposing the tariffs. AFP reported citing EU diplomats. 5 countries, including Germany and Hungary, voted against, while 12 abstained, including Spain and Sweden. There's a related news that says Macron is saying EU could die. I'm going to read all of them, all of this. Brussels has argued that the tariffs are necessary to protect European car makers from unfair competition, as it claims Chinese car makers benefit from state subsidies. Germany, the EU's largest economy and a major car producer, has voiced strong objections to the tariffs. The Commission, quote, the Commission should not trigger a trade war with China. We need a negotiated solution, unquote. German Finance Minister Christian Lindner said on X, formerly Twitter. Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orbán warned before the vote that the EU was headed for an economic Cold War with China. The EU added that it was still working with Beijing to look for an alternative solution. The new tariffs are expected to come into effect and at the end of October. The Chinese government said in August that it had filed a complaint with the World Trade Organization over the tariffs, arguing that they violate WTO rules and undermine global cooperation on climate change. Beijing has also already launched investigations into European imports of brandy, dairy, and pork products. So, very interesting related news. I guess I'm going to read both. There's another news about pandas. Read more. Cash-strapped EU zoo to return Chinese pandas. Interesting. I'm going to come back to read that too. October 3rd, Macron. EU could die, Macron. Macron said that. Home business news. The bloc is falling behind US and China due to overregulation. We have a photograph of French President Emmanuel Macron speaks to media. The EU economy needs to become more competitive with the US and China, or it could die, French President Emmanuel Macron stated at the Berlin Global Dialogue event on Wednesday. According to Macron, the 27 nation bloc is falling behind Washington and Beijing, both having outstripped the EU in economic output and investment. He warned that the European Union is in a very precarious situation and could face problems if it fails to deepen its single market and to resolve fragmentation. The EU could die. We are on a verge of a very important moment, the French president said. Quote, our former model is over. We are over-regulating and underinvesting in the 2 of the 3 years to come. In the 2 to 3 years to come, if we follow our classical agenda, we will be out of the market. The French president also warned that if the EU failed to urgently reform regulations, the bloc will be forced to implement a rescue plan in 5 to 10 years' time. So yeah, decadence. And you know, there's a video on the Caspian Report about UK decadence. You know, I always remember Natalia Urban, the Brazilian journalist. She was there in the UK. She definitely should go make the wrong decision. You know, she's suicide. She should buy a ticket to Brazil and forget about the UK, you know. He called on member states to press for fair global trade rules, while also urging Brussels to complete its banking union package of financial rules, according to Bloomberg. Macron's remarks echo the warnings published in Mario Draghi's economic competitiveness report last month. The former European Central Bank president and Italian Prime Minister said the EU needs $800 billion, which is 890 billion euros. Oh, I mean the contrary. 800 billion euros is 890 billion dollars in annual investment, which is about 4.5% of the entire bloc's GDP, in order to just keep up with the US and China. Well, it's so sad because of war too, you know. This war is doing terrible for the economy, I guess. You know, you need 5% of the GDP, and you also have to fight a war, you know, a war. Stupidness. So, unfortunately, I am Italian. Yeah, but I want to become a panda. And that's what I'm going to read right now. I will be your panda. Do you remember I have a panda pajama, and I have a little panda, like a teddy bear, a teddy panda. I will show you next time. September 24. Home World News. Cats trapped EU zoo to return Chinese pandas. The move comes as the result of mounting debts linked to the pandemic and the Ukraine conflict. Finnish state broadcaster Yle has reported. We have a photograph of giant panda eating bamboo at the Antari Zoo in Atari, Finland. A Finnish zoo is preparing to return 2 giant pandas to China because it can no longer afford their upkeep. State broadcaster Yle has reported. The pandas named Lumi and Piri were brought to Finland's second largest privately owned zoo in January 2018, 9 months after Chinese President Xi Jinping visited the Nordic country and signed a joint agreement on protecting the animals. However, Atari Zoo has faced financial difficulties in recent years, and management announced on Monday that they are planning to send the pandas back to China ahead of schedule later this year. The zoo cited a number of reasons for the decision, including mounting debts accumulated as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, a lack of tourists, soaring inflation, and rising interest rates amid the Ukraine conflict, the outlet said. So, you know, there's only bad news about this war, you know. And unfortunately, there's a lot of brainwashed people in Finland, Sweden, all over the world, all over Europe, wanted to keep fighting Russia, losing their money and lives. There's another news about pandas. China resumes panda diplomacy with the U.S. Under a 15-year lease for the animals, the zoo pays an annual fee to China of around 1 million euros, which is $1.1 million, which is earmarked for species protection. The zoo is also responsible for costs relating to the upkeep of the pandas. Last year, the Castrap Zoo asked the Finnish government for a 5 million euros, which is $5.5 million grant, but the application was declined. The iconic giant panda is considered vulnerable to extinction. For decades, Beijing has gifted the animals to countries as a tool of diplomacy and wildlife conservation. Earlier this year, China resumed its panda diplomacy with the US in the first such move in more than 2 decades. Chinese leader Mao Zedong first sent 2 pandas to then US President Richard Nixon in 1972, following the American leader's historic visit to the country, which laid the ground for mutual political ties. From 1984, China switched from gifting pandas to leasing them. I know this because people from PCO, Rui Costa Pimenta, they were in China and they were sent to a zoo, or like so pandas are in decline. These people from Brazil, they said pandas don't make sex enough. That's what Chinese people say to them. Well, now it's time for my yoga. I'm going to keep listening this Daniel Jadue interview, and I hope Daniel Jadue resume its channel. What about Daniel Jadue channel?
Cristiana y proveniente de Palestina, su primer acercamiento hacia la necesidad de transformar el mundo, su primer acercamiento hacia la necesidad de intervenir la sociedad que no te gusta como es, son las pastorales juveniles, ¿no? Y por lo tanto empecé a leer la Biblia, empecé a estudiar mucho la Biblia, y eso le sorprendía mucho a mi madre, y mi madre se empezó a convencer que iba a tener un cura en la familia, ¿no? Bueno, con el tiempo, yo creo que fundamentalmente con el impacto que el golpe tuvo en Chile, que partió a la sociedad completa, pero también partió a la iglesia completa, y yo empecé a aprender que habían 2 iglesias, ¿no? Una que jugaba un rol fundamental en la defensa de los derechos de los derechos humanos y de los derechos de la gente en general, ¿no? Y evitando la persecución política, pero había una parte de la iglesia católica que encubría los crímenes, ¿no? Una parte de la iglesia católica que además defendía la dictadura, una parte que finalmente ponía en seria contradicción todo lo que eran mis convicciones de la época. Entonces, más allá de seguir valorando lo que era la fe y lo que eran todas las religiones en igualdad de condiciones, yo me fui haciendo a la convicción de que no era una función de las religiones la transformación del mundo a la que yo aspiraba, y me empecé a convertir en un personaje más de izquierda laica, ¿no? Sin dejar nunca de estar cerca de las religiones. De hecho, hasta el día de hoy, cuando uno mira lo que hicimos en Recoleta, uno ve que una de las cosas más relevantes que hemos logrado es este trabajo mancomunado con toda la fe y todas las religiones que existen en la comuna a través de la Oficina de Asuntos Religiosos, que incluso ellos se han sorprendido, ¿no? Se han sorprendido que el gobierno de un comunista sea mucho más abierto a trabajar con las religiones que todos los que antes pasaron, y que por ser católicos eran muy discriminatorios contra los evangélicos, contra los musulmanes, contra los judíos, contra las otras religiones. Ese fue un periodo en donde yo además estudié mucho todas las religiones, el judaísmo, el cristianismo, el islam, y terminé siendo un apasionado de la religión como fenómeno sociológico, ¿no? En la medida que además iba adentrándome a la militancia más de izquierda laica. De hecho, lo que te estaba comentando antes, el 13 de septiembre termino mi militancia en el Frente Popular y el 14 de septiembre del 93 me voy a militar al Partido Comunista de Chile, que era, entre comillas, el partido con el cual, el único partido con el cual podía identificarme.
Te quiero preguntar por esta transición. Los acuerdos de Oslo implican algunas críticas que señalan que de alguna manera se está institucionalizando el sistema de los bantustanes en Cisjordania, una policía palestina que no está claro si tiene que reprimir a su propio pueblo o enfrentarse a los colonizadores. Ahí digamos que tú vives una cierta decepción y entras a militar.
Well, that's it for today, Mayor. I was looking at what videos about Pilates, and Pilates might be great too. Well, I just create this series, you know, with my legs and stuff. It works for me, but I guess I'm going to watch videos for Trochanter in this foggy day, beautiful foggy day from Antarctica. And yeah, I hope Daniel Jadue resume his show on his account, on his channel, Daniel Jadue YouTube channel. I don't remember, the Sin Maquillaje. Isn't it, Milu? Where's Sin Maquillaje?